Welcome back. In this lesson, we will focus on a fundamental building block of the Azure hierarchy, the Azure subscription. We will explore what a subscription is, its dual role in billing and access control, and how to use multiple subscriptions to scale and organize your environment effectively. Let's get started. To begin, we must define what a subscription actually is. Think of an Azure subscription as a logical container that holds your resources. You cannot create a virtual machine, a database, or even a simple storage account without one. When you create an Azure account, a subscription is often created for you automatically, but you are free to create more. Fundamentally, it serves as the agreement between you and Microsoft, governing how those resources are used and billed. It is the first layer of management you will encounter after your identity is established. This diagram illustrates the relationship we just discussed. At the top, we have your Azure account or identity. This identity possesses the Azure subscription. Notice how the subscription acts as the parent container for resource groups, which in turn hold specific resources like virtual machines and SQL databases. You cannot place a resource directly into an account. It must live within this subscription hierarchy. To understand where subscriptions fit, we need to zoom out to the wider Azure management hierarchy. Subscriptions sit squarely in the middle. Above them, you have management groups, which allow you to apply governance policies to multiple subscriptions at once. Below them are resource groups, which help you organize resources that share a life cycle. The subscription is a critical pivot point in this hierarchy because it is often where the business side of cloud computing cost and broad access control intersects with the technical side of resource deployment. Here we see the hierarchy visually. The management group at the top lets you manage policies across both subscription and subscription B simultaneously. Subscription then branches down into its own resource groups. This structure allows policies applied at the top to flow down, while the subscription remains a distinct unit for billing and operational management. A subscription is defined by two critical boundaries, billing and access control. First, it is a billing boundary. Each subscription generates its own separate cost reports and invoices, making it an excellent tool for separating costs between departments like IT and HR. Second, it is an access control boundary. When you apply role-based access control, or RBAC, at the subscription level, those permissions inherit down to every resource inside. This means if you make someone an owner of a subscription, they own everything inside it. This dual nature makes the subscription your primary tool for financial and security segmentation. This mind map breaks down the dual nature of a subscription. On the left branch, we see the billing boundary, which encompasses invoices, cost reports, and budgets. On the right, the access boundary defines RBAC scopes, user permissions, and policy assignments. This visualizes how one single concept the subscription handles both the financial and security perimeters of your cloud estate. Why would you need more than one subscription? A primary reason is scalability. Azure imposes service limits or quotas on subscriptions, such as a maximum number of virtual CPU cores you can use in a specific region. If your workload requirements exceed these limits, you cannot simply make the subscription bigger. Instead, you scale out by creating additional subscriptions. This also provides isolation. If a deployment script goes rogue and consumes all available quota in one subscription, your critical workloads in another subscription remain unaffected. This flowchart demonstrates the decision process for scaling. We start with workload demand. We ask, does this hit the quota limit? If no, we proceed to deploy to existing resources. If yes, the path branches to create new subscription, which effectively unlocks specific hardware limits. Both paths lead to the goal of increased capacity, but the new subscription path ensures you don't hit a hard ceiling. Effective organizations don't just create subscriptions randomly, they follow a strategy. A best practice is to separate environments. You should have distinct subscriptions for production, non-production, and sandboxes. This ensures that a developer testing a new feature in a sandbox cannot accidentally impact a live production application. This approach is often called subscription democratization, where you empower workload teams with their own subscriptions to build quickly, while the central platform team manages governance via management groups. Here we see a class diagram representing organization. The management group sits at the top, applying policy. It governs three distinct types of subscriptions: production, defined by critical workloads; non-prod, defined by dev/test activities; and sandbox, defined by experiments. This structure visually separates concerns while maintaining a unified governance model at the top. How do you actually get a subscription? For ad hoc needs, you can simply create one manually in the Azure portal. However, as your organization matures, you will likely move to programmatic creation using aliases and APIs. In enterprise environments, this evolves into subscription vending. This is an automated workflow where an application team requests a subscription, and the platform automatically provisions it with the correct networking, security, and identity configurations already applied, ensuring they are ready to deploy securely from day one. This sequence diagram illustrates subscription vending. The app team sends a request to the vending service. The service then calls the Azure Platform API to create the subscription. Once the ID is returned, the service applies policies and network configurations before finally handing over the ready subscription to the team. This highlights automation over manual clicking. To summarize, the Azure subscription is more than just a bucket for resources. It is a critical architectural component. It serves as your primary boundary for both billing and access control, allowing you to segment costs and security effectively. It is also your lever for scalability, helping you bypass default service limits. By organizing subscriptions, intelligently separating production from development, you create a secure, manageable, and scalable cloud environment. Thank you for watching. Our final diagram summarizes the core functions. The central state is the subscription. It transitions into three primary roles: a billing boundary leading to invoices, an access boundary leading to RBAC, and a scale unit handling resource limits. This visual reinforces the three main jobs a subscription performs in your architecture.